What's a 142-year-old history book have to say about the planning and building of our nation's capital? I'll give you a hint, Masons were definitely involved. I found this book recently, The Great Events of the Greatest Century, published in 1883. And a little interesting tidbit from the foreword of this book. It took them 11 years to write this book. And they spent $12,000 in engravings for the illustrations, which is over $380,000 in today's money, which seems a little insane for a book. I started out with this chapter, Founding and Establishment of the Nation's Capital. And I chose this because I think it's very interesting how Washington, D.C. has been set up. Like, surely this was purposeful. And the majority of this chapter is just them arguing about where the capital should be. I thought this little conversation with George Washington was kind of funny. I know very well where the federal city ought to be. Where then would you put it, sir, was the sincere inquiry of Washington. It ought to be located in Philadelphia, was the reply. Why are you sure it should be there? For the most satisfactory of all reasons, was the sinister answer, because nearly the whole of my property lies there and in the neighborhood. And they continue to argue about it, and old-timey insults are just the best. Mr. James Burns, what would your land have been worth if I had not placed this city on the Potomac? Burns, not at all crushed by this particular flanking argument on the part of the general, but undismayed, coolly turned to him and said, George Washington, what would you have been worth if you had not married the widow Custis? Well, they decided to put Washington, D.C. where it is currently. And while they were laying the first cornerstone, it was laid with all the usual Masonic ceremonies. And I'm guessing people at the time knew what that was, and it was probably nothing nefarious. Probably. In the cornerstone of the Capitol, President Washington deposited a silver plate, and the inscription is kind of interesting. This southeast cornerstone of the capital of the United States of America in the city of Washington was laid on the 18th day of September, 1793, in the 18th year of American independence, in the first year of the second term of the presidency of George Washington, whose virtues in the civil administration of his country have been as conspicuous and beneficial as his military valor and prudence have been useful in establishing her liberties, and in the year of Masonry, 5793, by the President of the United States in concert with the Grand Lodge of Maryland, several lodges under its jurisdiction, and lodge number 22 from Alexandria, Virginia. And I have no idea what any of the lodge numbers or any of that means, and if you do know, let me know. And you can pause to read this page, but if you're into gematria, there's a bunch of like distances and numbers and measurements. And it's very interesting that they would put these specific numbers in the description. There's like 44 feet, 72 feet, like it's very specific. So yeah, I don't know enough about Freemasonry or Masonry, or if those are two different things or whatnot. I know people have a lot of different opinions about Masonry and whether it's nefarious or not, but I'd love to hear your opinion about all of it down below.